This presentation will cover the following questions. These questions include: what is the MAP growth assessment? Why is my child taking the MAP? What does the assessment look like? How can I help my child prepare for the assessment? When will I receive my child's results from the assessment? Upon receipt of the results, how do I interpret them? How will my child's data be used? And if I still have more questions, who do I contact for more information? We'll expand further upon these primary questions throughout today's presentation. What does MAP stand for? MAP stands for the Measures of Academic Progress, or MAP. The MAP assessment was developed by NWEA, or the Northwestern Evaluation Association. That association is a research-based entity to determine best practice in assessing K-12 students. 10.2 million students across the world take the MAP assessment. The MAP growth assessment is used by over 44 deaf schools across the nation. Your child will take the MAP assessment 3 times a year. This begins in 3rd grade up through 12th grade. If you look at the graphs here, you'll see the recommended test windows that are suggested by the NWEA, in which all elementary, middle, and high school students will take during that test window. Now, as to which day of the week, that can be discovered by contacting your child's principal for further information. You can also look on the TSD website. When you click on our assessment page, you will see the specific dates for the assessments and when they'll be given. The MAP has 3 different areas in which we will be assessing for our students, including math, reading, and language usage. And that really refers to the writing process, editing, and revising, and what have you. It's important to be aware that there are some new TEKS that will be implemented in the fall of next year for ELAR. We are already beginning assessment based on those TEKS, which is a nice way to help the teachers prepare for the new TEKS rollout next fall. As shown on the previous slides with the animation, you are given an idea of what the testing looks like. The students take the test on whatever device they may have, whether it be a laptop, desktop, iPad, or other. It is computer adaptive, meaning that the following questions will be based on students' ability to incorrectly or correctly answer the question. The first question is on grade level. If they answer it correctly, the next question becomes more challenging. If they answer it incorrectly, it becomes less challenging. That adaptive piece happens throughout the assessment to determine where their actual level is at. The number of questions varies per test. Math has anywhere from 50 to 53 questions, reading has 40 to 43 questions, and language has 50 to 53 questions. The test is relatively short, even though it is an untimed test. Students are able to take as long as they need to be able to focus. The average test taker requires anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to complete the assessment. So why does TSD choose to administer the MAP assessment? There are several reasons as to why. The map offers a wide range of data to target each student's needs. It compares our students' performance to other students on a national basis. It measures student growth, not only in the year from fall until spring, but also across multiple years, perhaps 2018 and compared to fall of 2019, and then onwards to fall of 2020 to chart the growth of the student. MAP also has studies to show whether or not the students meet the criteria for college readiness or meets the standards for college readiness. It can be used to determine class placement, which we try not to rely on a single assessment for that. We collect data from a variety of sources, but we do use the results from the MAP test to determine placement for students in high school courses. The MAP assessment is also aligned with the TEKS, which allows us to monitor how students are doing in relation to the TEKS. It is also part of our MOU, or Memorandum of Understanding, with the state. Most schools have accountability measures in which they must meet related to testing. The majority of schools in Texas have their accountability based on the STAR assessment. However, the STAR assessment does not necessarily provide good, accurate data about our student growth. So our MOU was to find another accountability measure, and we have chosen the MAP assessment for that. We know that many parents want to know how they can best help their child prepare for the MAP assessment. Keep in mind that the MAP assessment is not like a typical course examination in which they can study the course content and pass the test. Due to MAP's adaptive nature, that allows us to know where the students are in their growth and to help us know how to best teach them based on where they are. So we do have some recommendations as to what you can do to help them prepare. This includes talking with your child about their test scores. How did they feel about what they think about the assessment? Did they feel they were able to attend to it? Did they feel that it wasn't their best test day? Do they even understand the purpose behind the test? These are important conversations to have with your child to talk about results. Children recognize that when their parents value the results of the test, they are more likely to value them as well. Our teachers also sit down with the students post-test to determine how they can better improve for next time, which means asking your child about their goals. Asking your child about what goals they may have in mind and ways in which they'd like to improve. A third way to help is helping your child build independence with their homework assignments. Homework is designed to be on a child's independent level. Remember that the students do not have any supports. They have to do it completely independent on the assessment. So it's important students have that opportunity to work independently at home to develop those skills. It's also important to read with your child or talk with your child about what they're reading. Regardless of math, science, social studies, or other subjects, all require reading. Improved reading capabilities will have an impact on all their other content areas. Make reading an important value in your home. Another recommendation includes talking with your child about the importance of taking the test seriously and trying their best. We do have students that prefer just to click through without bothering to pay attention. It's important that you have that discussion with your child to ensure they're doing the best they can, because the results of the test determine how the teacher will address their instructional needs in the classroom. It's important that students understand the value of the assessment. It doesn't mean that teachers rely heavily on the assessment. However, it does have value to the school and to the state. Also build a positive dialogue with your child related to growth. That means encouraging them, offering them praise, recognizing their hard work. In doing so, that increases your child's motivation to do well. We all appreciate your help in supporting students during the MAP assessment. Under the reading section of the results, you may notice the words Lexile range. That tells us the level of books the child should be comfortable reading. It's important to keep in mind that Lexile range does not keep in consideration of the content. Some of the content within that range may be more mature or appropriate for an older child. So when selecting books based on Lexile range, it's also worth looking at the content to assure that it's appropriate for your child. The Lexile range is meant to act as a guide. It is not set in stone. Your children should be selecting books regardless of whether or not it is below or above their Lexile range, based on their interests in the materials. What is percentile rank? Sometimes this concept can be confusing. Percentile rank does not refer to the percentage correct on the assessment. Rather, percentile refers to where your child performed among a continuum in comparison to other students of the same grade level. If I have a child in 3rd grade, and my child received a percentile rank of 25, that means my child performed better than 25% of students in their grade level. If my child received a percentile rank of 75, that means that my child performed better than 75% of students in their same grade. The national average is a 50 for percentile rank. So when you see your child near the 50 mark of the percentile rank continuum, that means that they're performing on par with the average student across the nation. Each student receives a RIT score. The RIT score refers to the RASH unit, which I realize is an unusual acronym. The RIT score reflects the student's current performance level. The RIT score, however, is not equivalent to the student's grade level. It is established based on a percentile. All grade levels can receive varied RIT scores. A good comparison to draw is related to growth measures for children whenever your child was first born. The doctor will oftentimes measure the child's height, weight, head circumference, and the doctor will show you a chart that looks like this and shows where your child fits along that. Typically, your child will fit near that midline that goes across the score, but a child may be above or below that. Neither is negative, it just may be outside of the norm. Some children will score lower in their RIT score, some will be higher. That midline score is the 50 percentile. How will your child's data be used? There are 3 different groups of staff on campus who will be using that. The primary individuals using those data points will be the teachers. It will help them plan instruction, help the students set goals, create small flexible groupings for instruction, adjust time spent on certain lessons or topics. Perhaps the course plans called for a week for that particular instruction, but based on scores, it may show they need extended time and they may increase it to 2 weeks for teaching that unit. It can also help in assisting developing IEP goals. The second group using that data are principals and supervisors. It'll allow them to develop SLO or student learning objectives. Also, the principals will use that information to monitor course levels and grade level progress, help high school determine the placement for course levels to ensure the students are in appropriately paced courses, and also overall helping improve teaching and learning in order to help students grow, and also increasing their motivation towards growth. And finally, at the district level, as you remember, we mentioned that this is part of our Memorandum of Understanding or state accountability measures, which means we will use this information at the district level. This allows us to monitor that progress towards our MOU, to create a culture that is data informed, and improve instruction and learning to help our students grow based on the data collected from the math assessment. So helping principals and departments overall with instruction and learning.